How do I start this thing?
Have you plugged the bloody USB in?
Yeah, it's in.
Nah, man, that's the wrong port. Oh, wait, it's flashing now.
It's recording.
Well, let's start this thing, fool!
Hello, everyone. I'm Amelia.
Hi, I'm Sam. Welcome to Ask the Duo podcast, a podcast where we get deep into those late-night, unfiltered conversations.
We'll be discussing all things lifestyle, relationship, mindset, and more.
Alright, let's get to it! Yo. Welcome
What's up,
back.
my friends?
So, I've got a pretty big headache at the moment, but
That's not good.
I think for the people who are listening that are in Brisbane based, we can all agree it is great to finally have sun action for
who knows? When this goes out, it might start raining again. We've only got like a small window of
hopefully
sunshine.
not. But we can all agree that it's bloody great to have some vitamin D in our system.
Yeah, I need more vitamin D.
Yeah, so I was out there for a solid, I think, 2 hours cutting the grass, snipping that shit up. So it looks very nice and shaven.
Clean.
So fresh, so clean.
So fresh and so clean. Alright, we're gonna go for a bit of a fun one because the last few ones have been quite serious, which is always good to talk about, but we wanted to also, not to sound like we're complaining, but we just want to talk about a few things that grind our gears or, can get us on a bad day, and when you're having a bad day already and these things happen, it can get to you. So we're just going to talk through some of our top few things that will grind our gears, essentially. I know that these are mostly first world problems, but fun to talk about, and I know there's definitely people in other countries or don't have the privilege of, driving a car, whatever it is that we have, but yeah, let's just go through it.
Jam into it, mate.
Start with you.
Me? You want to start with me? Okay.
Start with you.
So...
What? So we have some notes here. We brainstorm, and I can already see this first one.
So what really grinds my gear is when you're sitting in traffic or if you're on the bus, you're waiting, you're chilling, and you really need to take a big old shit. I think that's probably one of the most grinding my gears sort of...
What's with guys and shitting, farting?
It's not even like a shit. It's like when you really need to fucking spray the can. Like you're holding... You know that feel where you just... You want to fucking explode, but your bumhole is like... You're trying to hold it back so much that you start sweating, and then you get that face where you're like, shaking, and you're like, oh shit, man, I really need to fucking go to take a shit up, but you can't because this dickhead in front of me is not driving, fast enough, or there's so much traffic, or like, even if you're sitting on the bus and you're like, holy shit, like, get the fuck on the bus so we can fucking jam straight into it so I can run and take a shit.
But what makes it grind your gear? Like, what about the situation grinds your gear?
Well, the situation is you can't control the fact that you need to get from A to B. So A meaning you're going into work, you're traveling somewhere, and B is where you need to go, i.e. the toilet. So traffic or even waiting on the bus, like you win those situations where you're not in a control situation. You can't control
and
that.
Like pressing matters.
Pressing matters when you need...
that asshole that needs to come out.
Yeah, man.
That needs to happen. Well, I have something similar. Mine's just first world problems, once again. Traffic. I don't know what it is. I know that it's something that I need to work through because I guess it's like a patience thing that you just gotta kind of build on, but I really hate traffic. But like sometimes traffic is not bad, but I think it's like maybe people who just like kind of like, you can tell they're indecisive, like, oh, should I change lanes? Oh no, I need to go, oh no, I'm gonna go this way. Oh no, wait, sorry, I need to turn right, and then like, oh, and then like brake and then go, and then like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, can you just stay in your lane or like get
make
out?
a choice, don't be a bitch.
That's the things that kind of annoy me. Like I know, it doesn't annoy me every single time, but it does get to me most of the times, especially now that I don't really go or drive as much as I used to because I work from home most of the time. But when I do need to drive in traffic and there's these people, I'm so sorry, but I get so annoyed. I'm just like, choose a lane or get out or decide what you need to do.
That's me every day, so I'm used to it. I don't get annoyed. I just blast my beats and I just chill. So.
Yeah, but it's definitely something that I think I need to just kind of take a deep breath and reset my mind and be like, you know, these people may be having a bad day as well, or they might have something on their mind that's, you know, making them drive like that. So I need to kind of grow the patience in that way. Like I would say I'm quite a patient person, but just when it comes to traffic, I'm like, please just let me get to this place where I need to go in peace.
The second one for me is one-track-minded perception. So
what do you mean by that?
So people who basically are not open to other, I guess, not open for feedback or constructive criticism, depending on the conversation that is. So it's all subjective, but I mean, like, they don't consider alternative views, you know, they don't take that constructive criticism. They just think, oh, well, this is how I think and this is the right way.
Yeah, but how do you, like, at what time in that conversation do you think that that person, like, do you figure out that that person's a one-track minded thing? Is it something that they say or their tone, or is it like the body language?
It can be a combination of things, but it's more specifically to conversation.
Is it like,
right?
so you're explaining something and they're talking about something and they're like, no, it's
yeah,
this,
yeah, just real.
yeah, nah, yeah.
It's like, nah, mate, fuck off, mate, yeah. It's kind of like that.
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. So it's just having those conversations where it could be like a subjective matter where you're talking about certain experiences or certain ways of doing certain things. There's no right or wrong way, but there are some characters out there who are like, no, you have to do it like this because I experienced it and I got it right.
So how do you differentiate between someone who's very opinionated as opposed to someone who's just closed-minded? Like, someone might be really passionate about this and be like, yeah, I see it this way, as opposed to someone that's like, nah, it's this. Like, how do you define that?
Well, it's hard, right? There are different kinds of characters who are very, I guess, opinionated and can be respectful.
Yeah.
I'm fine for people to be opinionated, but, you know, there's a right way of expressing that.
Yeah, so I'm just, like, my question is, how do you define it when you're talking in a conversation? What kind of character would help you define whether or not they're very closed-minded or they just have their opinion that they want to express?
Well, I think for someone who is closed-minded, who basically shut all alternative views straight away, those are the kind of people who are more so that one-track minded, who aren't open to those sort of angles, if you want to say it like that. People who are open-minded, where they're like, hey, who are very opinionated in that way, you know, it's fine that they have their own opinions, but there's a right and a wrong way of how they come out and deliver that message.
Yeah. I find people, so how I define it as, open people would generally respect what you have said. So they're like, oh yeah, that's interesting to hear your way, but this is how I see it.
Yeah.
Or they would be like, oh, that's interesting that you think of it this way because this is how I saw it. So they kind of link what you have said and acknowledge that they've, you know, heard your point of view, and then they'll explain theirs. Whereas closed-minded people are generally be like, oh no, this is it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's, you can gauge that depending on the conversation. It's all subjective in that way.
And the tone of voice too.
Tone of voice, but sometimes you get some people who are very neutral and who are very closed-minded.
Yeah.
But yeah, closed-minded or just that one-track perception is, that grinds my gears.
Yeah, I have something quite similar but not really. So There's people who just complain to complain. Like, I get that some people do not enjoy certain things, or like you can complain about something, which is totally fine. But some people just complain, I feel like, to the fact that they just want to complain about something. So sometimes when you vent to people, right, you kind of want to give them some advice, or, you know, give them alternatives to be like, how about this? Or have you tried this? And then they're like, yeah, I've tried it, I don't like it. Or like, nah, I've tried this, I don't want it. It's like, oh, I don't want to do this either. So it's like, what do you want then? Like, are you just gonna continue to complain? Or like, I don't know, like, I don't get what you're trying to do here. Like, those are the things that kind of annoy me, only because it's like, then if you're not going to try this, like, if you're not willing to try something, like, I see that if someone's to vent, they are looking for, you know, alternatives. If they're not going to try, or if they're not going to even trying to do something outside of that thing, that challenge that they're, you know, met with, then why are you talking about it if you're not going to try it?
Yeah, and that's the hard part, right? It's like they're just venting to just complain or just to let go, but when someone provides them with an alternative, they're just like, well, no, I've tried that, or I don't want to try that.
Yeah, like, I don't want to do that.
Then it's like, bruv, fucking make your choice. Hey.
Then sorry, I can't help you here.
It's like, well, mate, what's the point of bloody complaining? Hey.
Yeah.
Hey?
Well, that's one that I've experienced.
I can understand, because there are a lot of people that do that, and it is like that sort of can come off as very similar to that one-track minded sort of situation, you know what I mean? Like, and that is really annoying.
It's just like, understand. You can come to advice, but if you're not going to help yourself, no one can help you.
Yeah, if you're not willing to be open to take that advice,
well,
or open to try.
It's not that you have to listen to my advice, but if you're not going to help yourself to get out of that challenge, and you're going to continue to complain, then I can't help you here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. So the third one for me is buying drinks.
So this is definitely first world problem.
Yeah, this is definitely first world problem, but buying drinks and opting for a particular size, i.e. like a large one, and they cheap out and give you half, i.e. like when I buy like a milk tea, oolong milk tea large, I get 50% freaking ice and then 50% content.
I don't know if this happens in like Macca's or anything, but if you go to any bubble tea or pale milk tea places, you get the option of having, you know, full ice, 50% ice, 30% ice, or no ice, or you can do, you know, 50% sugar, 30% sugar, no sugar. So that's what you're referring to, like, when you order that, right?
Well, yes. So, for an example, I would order a large oolong milk tea with, like, half sugar and less ice, if not no ice.
Yeah.
And these bastards would still give me a shit ton of ice. And I'd be like, what the fuck? I requested for, like, no ice or less ice.
Is it because this person didn't do your job properly? I mean, do their job properly, and they gave you just whatever they do as a standard?
To answer your question, it does happen at Macca's too, because when you buy a meal, you get
orange juice.
Well, just any meal, and you get a drink, they give you a shit ton of ice sometimes. Yeah. And sometimes they don't mix the drinks correctly. So how at Macca's, so for an example, if you get Coke, it's a syrup Coke, which they actually add like a soda gas thing to the syrup. I thought it was the actual Coke. No, it's not. It's like fast food. All fast food chains, kind of thing. It's like syrup. True. And then how they make it into like a fizzy kind of thing. They have like I forgot what it's called. Soda stream gas like tank. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how they're supposed to mix it and that sort of shit. But it happens all the time at Macca's where you would order a drink or you get a meal and it's just mostly ice.
So why does that grind your gear? Is it because you feel like you're not getting your money's worth?
If I'm buying a fucking large drink, I want a fucking large drink, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to buy a bloody, large drink and get like 10%
Can I get my cup of ice with a side of Coke?
Yeah, like what's the point of that? Then you're getting gypped.
Yeah. That's true. Not really similar to yours. My other one, this is just, I think it's more on a bad day, like when you're just trying to get stuff done. I guess it just happens when you're in a rush or you're just trying to get something done. I find spilling things that is hard to clean really, it doesn't grab my gears. I just see it and I'm like, oh my god, now how am I going to clean this up? And it happens so spilling things that are hard to clean. Sorry. So for example, anything that's powdery, like maybe flour, your protein powder, something like that, or things that are really fine, particles like coffee bean, like maybe coffee bean's okay, but anything that's like smaller than a coffee bean size, and you spill it and the whole bag just like goes all over the ground and you're like, shit.
Yeah, it's like, a pain in the ass to clean.
Yeah, because you gotta think about you picking it all up, then you gotta vacuum it, then like there might be small particles that's just like laying around, and you're like, then you also, I hate wastage, so then you see all that wastage because you can't really use it now, and you're like, well, there goes my day.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you rush, hey?
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, you're just like...
Yeah, it's annoying. The next one for me is waiting in a line, well, a massive line, to either get into a shop or to check out. Just anything to do with lines, okay?
Actually annoyed me about you when I first dated you. Like, I'm okay to line up because I'm like, it means it's good, right? And like, it's just the whole experience having to wait in line and then get to doing whatever, and you're always like, nah, fuck that, and then you just leave. I'm like, what the hell?
No, so if it's something that's good and I know that is good, or it's something like a new experience, I'll be like, okay, I'll compensate to like wait in the line.
But do you think it's because of me I've changed you, or is it just...
I think you have changed me to be open to just give it a crack in terms of like the line situation.
Yeah.
But as a standard, I'll be like, fuck that shit, I ain't wasting my time wait on this shit.
Yeah, like you were definitely anything that's a long line, you're like, nah. And you'll be already like 2 meters down, like walked away, like tiny little dots in the distance. I'm like... what the hell? Like, I'm freaking, like, still in line and you're, like, already gone. Like, you know, there's a little anime and they, like, just dash off.
Yeah, like, that's fuck that shit. See you later, mate. Out of here.
So, like, back then I used to be like, what the hell? Like, you haven't even given it a chance. Like, no matter if it's, like, something that's really good, like, really well known, or if it's, like, the smallest thing, like, you will not wait in line. And if you do, if I make you wait in line, I can definitely tell you're impatient and you would actually, like, you're not complaining, but the whole body language is like, I don't want to be there. And I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely in the earlier years, that was how I was. But I think now I'm probably a lot more patient when it comes to that sort of shit.
Yeah, you definitely are.
I'm way more patient than when I was. Back then I used to be, definitely jittery, for sure. No
time wasting.
Yeah.
What's another one? Yeah, this one's like, I don't know, personal preference, or I don't know. I can get quite observant and my peripheral vision of things, and I don't know, it's similar to having people watch over your shoulder when you're working. But it's more like particular. So if you're doing something, you're eating, and then you see people kind of like curious, like what you're eating or something, but they will stand there and look at what you're eating instead of being like, hey, what do you have there? Or like, what are you eating? What are you having for lunch? But someone's just lingering around. And I'm just like, are you okay?
Get the fuck out of here,
Can I help you there?
Yeah, you right there, mate?
Like, you want some of my avo? Or like that kind of thing kind of annoys me. Like, but I think it's kind of on me. I could actually make conversation at that point, but at the same time, I'm so annoyed where I'm like, I purposely don't want to make conversation anymore because they're just standing there. Like, I'm not talking about like just 5 seconds standing there looking at my food or whatever. And I'm just using food as an example. That they would actually just stand there just for a long time where it's past that time where it's like, now it's awkward kind of thing. And you're like, all right.
Yeah, but I think that could also, like, I can understand that it could be one of my grind my gears as well, where you know that you're kind of like, whether it's just eating or just doing your work or whatever it is, someone's sitting there or standing there or whatever, just looking at you, watching you. It's fucking frustrating at times because you're like, dude, I just need to get my shit done.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you doing here? Get the fuck out of here.
It's weird because, like, you can kind of feel those eyes on you. You're like...
You feel, you know that someone's watching you. Just like, oh, sort off, mate. Get out of here, mate. Fuck off here. But, But at the same time, you got to think about people could also be doing that on the flip side to try and start a conversation with you.
Yeah, like maybe they're shy or
Yeah,
something.
and there are people who are actually awkward in terms of starting conversations where they would just stand there and kind of like linger, but they want to talk to you.
That's why I said it could be on me. Like that's the opportunity for me to be like, hey, do you want some? Or hey, what do you have for lunch?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Sometimes you got to feel that. You got to feel that.
Feel the vibes, bro.
Yeah, because sometimes, like even at work, you know, I'd buy food or whatever, and I'm just chilling by myself, and this bird comes over and is like, "Oi, what are you eating there, mate? Or did you get something? Hey, looks good." And I'm just like, "Oi, fuck off, mate. I just want to enjoy my food. Hey."
I thought you meant a literal bird.
No, like a girl, like from work, or it's just whoever.
Oh, like why are you talking to magpies?
No. Yeah, so I'd just be like chilling there, like eating my food or whatever. I just walk in and they just come in and be like, "Ooh, that looks good, hey." And they stick their face into the food. Yeah. And I'm like, "The fuck, mate? COVID's safe. Get the fuck out of here, mate."
Nah, I think the reason why I feel like that though, because I'm a big person on, I wouldn't say personal space, I just like my personal time or personal... Like, if I'm in my zone and I'm doing my own thing, I really like my personal space in that way. So I think when I'm, like, seeing people that's, like, lingering, but, like, it's like, are you joining this space or are you not? And it's, like, a bit of that indecisiveness thing as well previously about the traffic. It's a bit of that, I think. I don't know. Like, it could be because of that.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely understand. But, I mean, you can also feel the vibe to gauge what that reaction could be or what the intentions are.
Yeah.
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 My fifth one is definitely first world problems, but privileged people who walk around with a demeanor like, you know, they have it all, they should have it all, or they, you know, you should respect them for everything.
What do you
kind
mean?
Of thing. So
like they think highly of themselves.
Yeah, so this is probably more relatable to corporate work life environment, because it is very prominent in, I'd say, mostly older generation guys, where, you know, because of their experience in the field or they've done something for X amount of time, they think, oh, well, because I've done this, I'm older than you. You should respect me. You should bow down, get on your knees and suck me off kind of shit.
Gross.
Like, they have that demeanor where they think they're the best, they're the top shit.
But what about them makes you think they do that?
Well, it's the attitude. It's how they treat others, how they talk to people. It's not directly, you know, putting that sort of vibe out. It's indirectly putting that vibe out.
Yeah.
Where they're acting like, you know, they're the best shit ever. Like their shit doesn't stink. That's what really grinds my gear, because I'm just like, fuck off, mate. Like, yeah, you might have 10, 15 years experience, but you're still an ugly motherfucker.
But is it because you feel disrespected? Like,
no, it's not that. It's not about being respected or being disrespected or anything like that. It's like, well, first and foremost, if you're coming into this new environment, you know, you got to feel what this environment that you're stepping into is like.
So is it like more new people who come in and feel like they already
I'm just using
that
as an example, not specifically, but I mean, it can go both ways, right? If they've been there for a long time and, you know, they've got a demeanor where they're like, well, look, I'm this person, I'm here, you should come to me for this, or respect me for this, or you should listen to me because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a right time and a place for that, but, you know, when your attitude speaks that, it's like, dude,
I think that's still, that can work hand in hand in talking about like closed-minded people, because they have that vision that what they know is like the correct way, when in fact there could be other ways that you could do something. Like if we're talking about work, like there could be other ways or new processes, like, you know, like mobile phones evolve all the time, or like technology evolves, and there could be new things that you could implement to make a process better, or whatever it is. Yeah, so, I mean, you could say that it is relatable in some way, but, like, for an example, I'm just kind of pulling this out of my ass, but
Like there are
Out of
older.
your squirty hours that you were sitting through bus and traffic for.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. I've had plenty of those
Yeah,
scenarios,
it's so gross.
and it's the worst experience ever. I'm sure people listening definitely know what I'm saying because.
Alright, what are you pulling out of your ass?
Well, okay, changing topic here, but
No, I'm getting you back on topic.
yeah. So for the older generation, they're very particular, like you said, right? So very paper based, very old school.
Wait,
manual.
I didn't say that. You said that.
No, you said that.
I didn't say anything.
You said shit, mate. Like, fuck off, mate. So yeah, and you can teach them new ways of doing particular processes or whatever it is, but they're so stuck on that. Oh well, I've done this for 20 years, and I've done this team, I've done that team. You have to listen to me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That as an example, it really does grind my gear because
like we can go deeper into this, but I think sometimes as well, they come up with that perception where they think it needs to be done this way because they've done it for 20 years or whatever it is. But I think it's also a comfort zone for them because they've done it and they're so competent in doing it that way. So if you're trying to teach them a new way, they're a bit hesitant because it's so foreign to them, especially when it's technology or something that's implementing technology, and they're very protective of what they've already learned. And then if they have to break out of that, they have to learn a whole new process, which is uncomfortable for them because they don't know how to do these kind of things.
Yeah, but that's a different, like, you got to be open to learning, right? Yeah. So I mean, I guess there's a right place and time for that.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes a bit more education. Like, you have to educate them to be like, if you do it this way, or let me show you how to do it like this. There are people who are very open-minded, like elderly or not. They'll be like, okay, oh, that's cool. I didn't know you can do this. Whereas there's some people who are like...
But you would find that people who are more on that privileged demeanor are very much closed-minded in that way where they think...
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a separate topic because I'm sure we'll talk about work environments. We can dive deeper into that because I've got heaps of that. But I did have one more.
Yeah, bonus.
A bonus one, which is people in customer service where they...
You have a lot of people ones.
Yeah. People in customer service where they would judge you by your image. So physical appearance, they'll judge you and they will treat you in a particular way.
Depending on what you wear or how
Depending
you dress.
on where you wear, what you look like.
Yeah.
A lot of people look at me and they think, oh, look at this fucking Asian dude.
Yeah.
He could be fob, he doesn't speak English. And then as soon as they hear me talk, and like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's why, like, tying a little bit back about the physical appearance thing, like not physical attraction, but just physical appearance. I don't judge people based off my first, like, what I see in them, because sometimes, like, the biggest, tallest, like, guy, like Samoan typical build or something like that, for example, you would be like, oh, damn, he's, like, scary. But really, they're, like, the friendliest people you could ever meet. Like, you don't know that.
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot of Sullys and my Samoan brothers out there that...
Yeah, they're awesome.
They look fucking, scary, but they're actually really funny and nice.
Yeah. Speaking of Samoans, I actually have a funny story. Well, funny now, but wasn't funny at the time. So back in my crazy clubbing years, I think it was just me and one friend at the time. We went outside to take a breather because we obviously drank a lot. We were like hella drunk. And when I'm drunk, the first thing that gives me the cues that I'm tipsy is my vision. My vision's blurry. So I drank a lot. So my vision was like crazy blurry. Came out of the toilets outside in the valley, and I think I was waiting for my friend. So I was just chilling there, holding my wallet, my phone, and this massive, like, humongous dude bumped into me, and then, like, something got ripped out of my hands. I was like, what the hell? And I looked up, and there's, like, this tall shadow, like, overcasting me because he's massive. He's, like, probably double my height and, like, 3 times my width. Like, he was legit humongous, and I think he was a decoy. And the girlfriend was probably the one that kind of ripped the wallet out of my hands. As anyone, if your wallet gets pulled out of your hands, you kind of want to chase it. So for me, I was just running back into him and trying to run towards him and trying to grab my wallet back. And he was protecting someone behind him. So my vision was blurry, so I couldn't tell. In my vision, it was just him who took my wallet. But my friend kept pulling me back, and I was like, what are you doing? So she just came out just in time and saw the whole thing. And she's trying to pull me back, and I'm trying to pull forward because I want my wallet. And she's like, dude, don't fight this guy. And I was like, why? I was like, I just want my friggin' wallet. So I was like bumping into him, and he's bumping me back. And I was just like, dude, what the hell? I was like, let go. Like, let me just freaking get my wallet. So long story short, after that whole situation, either when I sobered up or it was like the next day, my friend was telling me like, dude, this guy was a massive Samoan dude. Like, you would not be able to fight him. And there was like another person. So that's when I knew that he like had a girlfriend or like a partner or something.
Really? So then did you get your stuff back, or what happened?
No, they legit ran off. They like legged it, and I was like chasing them, but I was like in heels, drunk, tipsy, whatever. So it was like long gone. But funny enough, I was actually gonna call you that night. I don't think we were dating, but it was like the period when we were talking.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna call you, but I was like, those guys have already ran off. So by the time wherever you are, you come over with your friends, they're like long gone, and even the police won't do anything about it. So I was like, whatever, I guess my stuff is gone.
So did you go see the cops, or what? Did they?
Yeah, I think we did. There's always cops patrolling the valley, so we talked to them. They took down the details, but I don't think they even did shit. They was just like, oh yeah, what name, what happened, and then that's pretty much it. Never heard from them again. So
yeah, they're pretty fucking useless when it comes to that sort of shit, eh?
Yeah, so
it's sad.
Just gotta be careful when you're out drinking and clubbing and stuff.
Yeah.
But aside from that one-off situation, for me personally, I would never judge someone like straight away. And like now, I think as we've kind of gone through life, you can judge people a lot faster because you kind of understand their body language. Like where it's not really you look at their physical and you judge them. Like we've already kind of gathered like a few quick datas from their body language, so that I can kind of judge like straight off the bat, like this is what they've been doing, like this is how they move, and I'm like, oh yeah, this person doesn't seem like trustworthy or whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Like in saying that, I do think that, but I always give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, okay, maybe that's just the first impression. There could be, they could have just done something by accident, like that wasn't their
intentions.
Yeah, their intentions. So,
yeah, but I also think that customer service, depending on where you work, i.e. like a high-end brand or high-end car brand or whatever it is, they're taught to basically judge people because of their image and perception.
But I feel like people in that industry should be able to judge you even better than a normal customer service
to make sales, because sales is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So I can understand they've been taught in that certain way.
Yeah.
But to kind of fall back on what you said, like, I can understand like people would look at someone and judge them based off how they appear, but it's totally different or totally opposite. It's like my friend True, my dirty Filipino friend. He's Vietnamese, but like when you look at him, he looks like a dirty philo.
Why'd you have to bring him into mean.
I'm sorry, True, if you're listening, but you came to my mind because a lot of people look at him and go, "Oh, he looks like a fucking philo," and they always think he's dirty philo, but he's fucking Vietnamese, man. He's full Vietnamese, and like people think, they judge and they go, "Oh, well, he's this kind of guy," but when they actually get to know him, he's totally different. Like that perception, that judgment, that image of someone in particular, you know what I mean? It skews how they think. But yeah, that's my bonus. Grind my gears.
Well, I guess we've finished grinding our gears, so we'll close it off here.
Good topic.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much if you have reached to the end. We really appreciate you for tuning in. And if you'd like what you hear, please share it with your friends or family and subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you are listening to.
Make sure you share any topics you'd like us to cover or questions you might have to our Instagram.
Slide it into our DMs.
Pika pika. You can also stay in the loop of all the behind the scenes and the release of our new episodes there too. Our Instagram is Ask the Duo Podcast. That's AskTheDuoPodcast. Man, feels like I'm in a spelling bee competition right now. Alright, that's it for now, and we'll see you back here for our next episode. Bye!
See ya!